Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out here with me. My name is Alex Castillejos, and let me tell you, another night, another video, another person to share her testimony. And let me tell you, that's Sister Elena Herrera. She's here, and just be blessed. And let me tell you, she's going to be sharing her story about Santeria. That's right, Santeria, this religion and witchcraft all mixed together. And we're going to be learning more about her life. But let me tell you, all this stuff that she was involved, her family especially, and how the Lord changed her life. I mean, seriously, we gotta find out all those details. Let me tell you, please share this link with your friends and family. I'm not kidding you. It's gonna be a huge blessing in their life. And let's invite her right now here in Just Be Blessed. How you doing, Sister Elena? Thank you so much for being here in Just Be Blessed.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I'm so excited that you decided to share your story because you were telling me that it's been a long time that you haven't, share your testimony and how the Lord really protect you and deliver you to get out of those kind of situation that we it was around in your family growing up. So that's not just like, oh yeah, I mean, I heard about it and I went over there a couple of years and I mean, you grew up. I mean, a young child's mind, they don't need to be seeing things how the animals cut it off, they get killed and do all these rituals and you name it. So please share whatever is in your heart, seriously, because I know people are going to be watching this testimony and they're going to be like, wow, if the Lord can protect her or deliver her, it's a hope for me, or maybe it's a hope for my brother and sister and the family. But before that, I just want to hear from you. How was growing up? How do you have brothers and sisters? How was mom and dad? How was that home when you were growing up?
Well, I grew up in Havana, Cuba, and I grew up with my grandmother and her partner, and my oldest sister and my youngest brother. My parents didn't live with us, so I saw them off and on. I know that there was a time that they were separated, so my dad would come and, he would come and visit, or he would tell me, tell my grandmother, hey, dress her up, I'm going to go pick her up, and he will never come. But it was that kind of thing where my grandfather, I call him my grandfather because he was the only man I knew. He would take me to school. My grandmother was the one that was my mom, and he was my dad for 9 years. So basically, I would see my mom when she would come in. She did come to see us and to do rituals in the apartment where we lived. She was a nurse, and she would become possessed. So she had a legion of 21 demons they would go through her. 22 to be exact. 21 was a tribe from Haiti, and there was an additional female. So what I remember is her coming into the house one day, and she was doing a ritual to some lady. And I was sitting with my grandfather, and my grandfather told me, you see what your mom is doing, promise me you won't ever do that. And I said, sure. Like, why would I want to kill a pigeon or a chicken, So I didn't know what it was that she was doing. I know she was killing an animal. So that happened, and another thing happened where she had a seance in the house, and she became possessed. And I must have been about 7 or 8, and she became possessed, and this demon started talking. And it's so weird because I could understand everything the demon spoke. And I was like, it's saying this and this and that because it spoke in a different language and nobody understood. And I'm like, this is saying this and this and that. And everybody was looking at me, and they told my mom when she came to, hey, your daughter knows what the spirit, they call it the spirit, what the spirit was saying. So my mom looked at me like, you understood everything? And I said, yeah, I understood. So she would come and pick me up so I could translate.
Wow.
So yes, that was something else that I was translating for this uh, unclean spirit, demon, what have you, that my mom was manifesting.
So, I mean, you were young. How old were you were when
About eight,
8?
7, 8 years old.
Do you have, I mean, do you remember, like, maybe it was a voice is telling you, like, okay, that's what it was saying, or just like in your
No,
mind? Like,
no. It was like it was talking. I could understand everything it was saying. It was just like I could understand what it was saying. I couldn't hear. I did whatever it was saying. I understood. Like if it was talking normal Spanish or what have you, I could understand what it was saying. And it was like these demons. They came from a tribe from Haiti, and my mom was manifesting at a very young age, and my grandmother didn't know because my grandmother was from her ancestors were from Spain. And she didn't know. She never practiced anything. So she used to throw buckets of water to my mom because she didn't know how to deal with it. So until she took her to someone and they told her that they had to manifest, to leave her manifest these spirits. So my grandmother let my mom manifest, and it turned out that it was a legion of a Haitian tribe that she was manifesting these evil spirit or these demons. And they had names. They all had names. They had different names. I remember one of them was named Pierre. Um, and they all had, there was only once a year that they will all manifest through her. Only once a year that 21 of them would manifest. And they, but only once a year. There was the leader will manifest every week, as every week.
as a young girl, you don't need to have that kind of, you don't need to have that kind of experience, right? I
No,
mean, you need,
especially no.
yeah, I
If you
mean, you
see
need
the
to be,
mouth turning into something, and she looked normal 1 minute, and then the next minute her whole persona turned into a man, and she spoke like a man, she sounded like a man, she acted like a man, she drank rum, smoked a tobacco, and I mean bottle of rum. And then when she come to, she was normal.
I mean, we dealing. I mean, you were dealing with demon spirits, devils, and what the Bible said, the principles of this earth, the darkness, and I think, okay, so we're gonna be talking more and more details about that, but I'm talking about, like, this is very young age, and you're not supposed to be having those kind of, you know, in, cases, and you know, the moments that you're supposed to be growing up, and learning about life. This is how we do things, and this is how we go to school and learning what I'm saying, like go play outside, you and your friends, happiness moments, let's build memories. But instead, it was not very pleasant.
No, no. When we arrived in the United States, she started, she already had gone into Santeria. She already had added that to the mix. So when we arrived to the United States, my mom and my dad were together because they had to be together. There was arguing. I didn't know my mom had a drinking problem because I didn't see her. So now we're living together. So now is the whole family's together. My sister got married very young, so she left the house. But it was my brother, my mom, my dad, myself, and my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, for a while. And it was, I didn't know she had a drinking problem. So this was every weekend my mom would manifest and then drink. So it was very unstable. We would go out. She had made friends because she was trying to build up her family. So in that, we will go to their friend's house on weekends and we just sit there. My brother and me, we were not allowed to talk. And we would just sit there and my mom would get, wasted and my dad, and it was the same thing every weekend. And go home, we lived in Jersey. She became, within a year, she became she opened up her first botanica, which is a place where they sell witchcraft and Santeria and all voodoo stuff. So she became very well-to-do. She became wealthy. We were well off. We were well off. Within the first year, she built up a lot of clientele. And this was the thing was going on every weekend. Every weekend she had a seance, and I would sit there and watch. I had nothing better to do, so I would sit there and watch this. I would clean the glasses because she had a table where an altar, and she had glasses, and these glasses were for the spirit to come through. So I would just, clean the glasses. I would be doing cleaning the glasses, filling the glasses with water. I felt bad because one of the big glasses had a crucifix. And I felt bad. I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm drowning Jesus in this glass of water. So it felt awkward, but it was my little job and to do that.
So you were thinking
And
like, I'm helping mom.
yeah, I'm helping mom. And then, at the store, I would see her, sell religious stuff, and I would be helping her in the store every day. I'd come home from school, and that was my life. It was it was that, and once I got a Ouija board for Christmas, and it
Wait,
was funny.
wait. I'm like, I mean, I know you were. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's something normal, right? To see something like sand, and then I mean, all these spirits breaking. I mean, I don't. I never heard this before. I never heard this. And Ouija board for Christmas.
Yeah, it didn't work. I threw it away. I had enough evil spirits. What would I want one more?
You want a
I
real one,
This
right? Like
doesn't
a.
work. I have enough. I don't need to call evil spirits. I have a whole bunch in my house.
Wow, that is. Oh wow, this is. We're recording this. I mean, this is. Wow, interesting. But to me, it's like you growing up with the spirits. This your mom is doing all this stuff, and you think it's normal, and I'm sure you were thinking like, what about me? I mean, I really want to be like mom.
Well, I did admire my mom. I did admire her because she worked very hard. She had really good uh, moral principles. Like she would work hard,
Mm.
and she would tell us it doesn't matter what how, if you're black, Hispanic, you get up and go to work. So she was very a hardworking person, and she wanted us to go to school and learn. And she would get up very early, make sure that we were fed, make sure that we had everything. So she was a good provider. She was a good provider. Uh, the only thing she provided with what she knew, and that was that the religion, and she became very, very well known in the community because, I mean, she had a store. She had two stores at one time, and she was doing well. Her followers were going. She was doing this santos to people very so often. So, and she grew, and the more she grew, the stronger that thing got, the darker it got.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a few people I interview here in Just Be Blessed talk about Santeria. Okay. That it seems like every time it's, different things, kind of like the same thing, more powerful or something like that. But I want you guys check it out, those testimonies, because let me tell you, every single one is told different one, different size of, of the testimony. I just want to share with you that you were saying that your mom was possessed, but sometimes we think that we control the spirit. But the thing is that they control us. And sometimes you don't know when it's going to get out. Maybe you're thinking like, oh, yeah, I mean, I want to, only 30 minutes, or I'm going to be doing this practice. But no, I mean, sometimes, I don't know. I have a question for you. How long do you think the spirit it was possessed, and your mom or different people?
Well, I know that it was like about, I would say, maybe a long time for when it came down. I remember that the female came first, and they would do chanting. They would do chanting and like little chants to bring the spirits down. And then I remember that the female spirit would come, and she seemed very gentle. Then she would leave. She wouldn't stay long. Then the male spirit came, and he would be there the longest. He would be there maybe about 2 hours. His coming was easy, but his going was rough. Like when he came easy, but when he left rough. Um, and it was always, with, she had to have pants underneath. She would have a skirt, but she would have pants underneath. And then you knew it was him because of the way her facial figures would change. She didn't look like a female anymore. Now she spoke, the tone of voice was deeper. It was a man that was speaking through her. It was a demon that was speaking through her. So, but he had to speak to everybody. He would speak to everybody and tell people stuff, like whatever it was that he needed to voice to them, to do some kind of ritual or offering they had to do. And then when he finished talking to everybody, then he would leave. But it was like that all night long, and drinking rum. And the more, if he wanted more rum, and then he didn't drink out of the bottle. He drank out of this dry coconut. We call it chica. And then that's where he drank. He didn't drink out of the bottle. You had to put that in there. Or you put it in his hands, and he would drink it like that. He never drank out of the bottle. But I would experience this. It was an every weekend thing, and it was a lot of people. There was a lot of people that would come and just to listen to and be participating in this stuff.
So, a question. So when people pay and to be present there, it helps them to make money or heal them, or what is it? What is the reason that people just go over there and I want to have this section?
Okay, well, the seance are different. Seance are very they're spirits. That's where the demons come down and they talk, they manifest and they talk to people. And basically they'll tell them you know, the future or something that they need to know. That's, you know, like they'll tell them, hey, you know, I saw your grandmother and your grandmother says this, and you know, and stuff like that. They deal with familiar spirits. So they'll say stuff, you know, to deceive people. They'll say stuff to deceive people. It's very deceiving. Now, in these seance, basically what they do is they cleanse you. They get some herbs and they cleanse you with the herbs, and they do that stuff. But basically, it's for these demons to manifest and to, you know, to do whatever they need to do and to talk to the people. So they would fall for whatever it is that they're doing. You know, they would tell a person, hey, you know, you need to do this because there's a bad spirit around, you know, there's a bad spirit around you. They'll work like that. And so another person might manifest too. Another person might manifest an evil spirit or another spirit, and then they had to deal with that person manifesting and that spirit talking also. Or they will be doing some kind of deliverance there. And it was that kind of weird thing. But actually, when they go to a seance, people don't pay. They just come to have that experience. To have that experience. Where they pay is, okay, now I have to do this ritual. How much does it cost? And that's where they get you with the rituals. Where they, you know, where they get you. Or my mom would also, she never read tarot cards. She was very gifted, where she would only sit down and she could tell your past, your present, and your future. She would tell you names. Wow. And she would leave people like, what? How did this lady know this? So she was gifted in that aspect. So she would come and people would, you know, for a reading, but it wasn't anything like that, like tarot. She had the caracoles, which are the shells. Those are from the Santos. And those she did read, and she did read them very well. But very seldom did she read them. She didn't need to. She basically just told people things, and people were like, wow. So she charged for that, and then she charged for whatever ritual she had to do. The big money was in the Santeria, because that's where the money, the thousands of dollars came in, and the whole ritual had to be done, and they have to hire people to come in and work for them, and then do the buy the animals, the whole sacrificing of the animals, the goats, the chickens, the birds, all that they have to sacrifice that. Plus, whoever is getting initiated had to a whole wardrobe had to be purchased for that person. So that's what the big money is in the initiation of a santero.
So you were growing up and you were like 15, 16, 17, and you like, I want to be one, make my own, have my own store and make some money. And I mean, I have practice already. So what do you think? How was those years and the teenage years?
Well, my teenage years were crazy. They were crazy. because I wasn't very cute or anything. I was very timid and introvert.
Mm.
And so my mom, we used to go out a lot. My mom used to go out a lot. And she taught me how to, the law of attraction. And she would tell me, okay, you want a guy to notice you? And I was like, hmm? And she goes, just stare at a guy. Stare, 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 stare. And when they look at you, look the other way. And I go, that doesn't work. She goes, try it, try it. So I remember she took me to a dance once in New York. And I'm like, let's try this. And I did. And I stared and I stared and I stared. And it worked.
Mm.
The guy noticed me. So now I had, oh, so this is how I could get a guy.
Mm.
So I started doing that. I started, staring. And then when somebody would look, I was like, or when a guy would look, I would just look the other way. And I think Madonna wrote, has a song of that. It's The Weight of the Stare. And people don't even know that. So that's something that she taught me. I didn't have that. I wanted to become a Santeria right away. Oh, I just really didn't like the whole killing. I had an experience at age 11, and I was sleeping. My room was next to her. It was my room, and then the deities, the santos room was next to mine. And I remember one night I had left the window open a little bit, so some air could come in. And I'm lying down, and I see this black fog come into my room. And from the corner of my eyes on the left side, I saw these red beady eyes. And I'm like, what in the world is that? And I closed my eyes. And when I closed my eyes, I still could see these red beady eyes. I closed them, I opened them, and they were still there. And I'm like, I had sleep paralysis, but I was awake. I couldn't move and I couldn't talk. And I kept pinching my leg to make sure that I was awake. And I'm like, I'm going to die. This is death coming for me. I'm going to die. At that time, my mom had put us in Catholic school. So I'm like, okay, God, please help me. Please, 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 whatever this is, make it go away. And I remember that I was looking at my bed, and at the foot of my bed, I see a skull. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be, I'm dead. This is death coming for me. I'm like, I was 11. Then I just I couldn't open my mouth. I was paralyzed, unmovable. But I would say, I would think about, God, help me out of this. Oh, I'm going to die. This is death coming for me. Help me. I don't want to die. I'm just a kid. So all of a sudden, I see this white fog come into my room also. And I'm like, okay, now there's a dark fog and a lighter fog. And I'm like, okay, who's going to take me? Is, the dark or the lighter one? I was so scared that I thought that was the enemy. So I noticed that the black fog took shape and the white fog too. And they were faced off. They were talking to each other face to face. And this is in front of me, and I'm like, what's going on? They were having a conversation. I could tell that they were having a conversation. And I see all of a sudden the beady eyes disappear, the skull disappear, the black fog left out the window, the white fog left out the window, and the window slammed. And I was like, what was that. I was like, oh my gosh. I told my mom what had happened, and she's like, oh, that's just somebody doing witchcraft on you. And I'm like, witchcraft? I'm like, that was the demon in my room.
Mm.
So I was like, from that moment on, I was afraid of going to sleep.
Yeah.
I thought that thing was coming back. Thank God it didn't. But I realized, that there was an angel. The white fog was an angel that came to my rescue, because I was like, there's no way. That had to be an angel. So that was my first experience with a demon and an angel. And then after that, I kept seeing dark shadows. And like my teenage years were basically the same. Um, the Santeria in my house and the rituals, every weekend, I was I would clean the the glasses. I would do my chores. I would clean where the Santos were these big soup bowls, and they have water. Some of them have water inside. Some of them have rocks and water. Some of them don't have anything. They don't have water. Some of them. So I would just clean them, make sure that they were clean for my mom, and basically, put the flowers, make sure everything was, nice for them. And that was my teenage year, was just being, helping my mom out of the stores and just doing that. And I know my brother, he had to have go into the Santeria because my mom went into it because of him. So I think he went into at age 9, but he never practiced. He just did it to get my mouth off his back, kind of thing. But he never liked it. He would not even eat a chicken because the smell of chicken, it was the smell of dead animals in the house was so nasty. It was just nasty. And I just, like, my teenage years I was an introvert. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just kept to myself. I was so very depressed. Having these things around you make you very depressed.
So I'm sure you're not gonna be telling your friends like, "Hey, you know what? You wanna come to my house? You're gonna see some demon possessed, some spirits or something." I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how do you invite friends to
No.
your house?
No, no. Well, my friends went to my house, but my mom wasn't demon possessed when they went. My mom would get demon possessed on Friday nights when her seance was on. This was like the demons did not possess my mom every day. She would not manifest every day. She would only manifest when she called on them. She will only manifest at that time when
And
they
I'm
were
sh-
just home.
and I'm sure the smell, you know,
Hmm?
the smell of the chicken in your house. I mean, that's not.
Yes, there was a lot of blood, a lot of food. That there was every time they will be put food to them, to the saints, so they could eat. So if my mom made a nice meal, she would put food to them on the floor. There was one Elegua that he likes candy, so his thing was always full of candies.
So the saints and their spirit, right? Possessed.
Okay, so the saints, the santos, these are another thing. This is not
The idols. The idols is the saint.
these are other demons. These are another demons.
And the
So
demons that were eating the food.
okay, so these are other demons. So these other demons, they come from the Yoruba. Okay, they come from Africa. These other demons, they come from Africa. And that's when the slave trade came in, they merged with the Catholic saints. So because the the Africans could not worship as they could in Africa, they had to change to Catholic. So they took the Catholic saints. So now, you know, it, let's say Santa Bárbara was Shango, and La Caridad de Cobre was Ochun. Jeremiah is the Virgen de Regla. So that's how they did that. So they disguised those saints. So this is another thing that she went in. So this is the Santeria part. And the Santeria part is basically being born again into this Santeria. Okay, it's not just a practice. What they do is they will put a really big bead on you, a white bead, okay? And that means that you are to do saint, to become initiated, okay? So once they do that, you could take, some people months, a year, but you knew you had to do it. So once you were ready, they will come in and they take you to the river, and you had to be baptized in the river. Now this is a whole ceremony. It's a 7-day ceremony. So you be baptized in the river, just like a Christian is baptized. You're baptized in the river. You come back to wherever that place is going to be that they're going to do the ritual. You have your madrina and padrino, your godmother and your godfather. That's going to put the saint, and then they're going to do this killing, this sacrifice. And then there is a ritual that's done. I don't want to call it a ritual, but it's like they sit you down, and then there's there's a person that is in charge. Okay, it's not a babalao, it's an oriate, and he's in charge of the whole ritual. So he comes in and he sits down, and in a notebook they'll write down, just there has to be a lady there. Now only people that are santeros are allowed in the room. Only people that are santeros are allowed in the room. For this certain reading, they kind of keep it private. If you're married, your husband could be there, your wife, but they kind of keep this private. So they write down everything. That every deity will be coming down to talk to you, and they'll tell you what what they expect of you. They'll tell you what you could do and what you cannot do. So all this is written down in a notebook, and you will receive a new name. They'll give you a name. They'll give you a name. And so you go in, you get your hair shaved. You have to be bald, like a newborn baby, because you're getting born into this religion. You've been baptized, you shave like a baby, and you have a new name. Sound familiar? It's a born again, it's the devil's copycat of being born again. So it's a whole ritual. For a whole year, you have to dress in white, a whole year. So someone has changed your identity. Now you have a new identity, and you have a new name. So that's your name. And so therefore someone has that notebook. My mom used to keep people's notebook, and after a year and 7 in a week, you come back and you can make a copy of your notebook. Or I heard some people now are giving the original to whoever it is that they do that. But it's very important, because people don't understand that notebook holds secrets. It holds your name. It holds everything that you do throughout your life in this religion. So now you have someone is holding you accountable for this. So it's very important that people know that, hey, you know, I did this, but there's someone else that has a notebook with my information, down. So it's being born again. You can't wear black and you wear white because of the evil spirit. You can't shake hands. Um, for those 7 days, people come and see you. You have an attire. You have to eat on the floor. You have to sleep in the floor. You have your mother and your father, and then these saints are put in your head. So they're how could I? The ritual is that they come and place them in your mind, so they're taking possession of your mind.
Mm.
So
Wow. I mean, it's a huge. It's to me, it's like, I mean, you're a slave. I mean, like you cannot do this, you cannot do that. And a cult, all the stuff, and people. I mean, we need to be free. You need to be. Jesus is the bring the good news of salvation. To bring us.
yeah,
Bring us salvation.
yeah.
From the nation and sin and all the stuff from the enemy. My question to you next is: you experienced all that, and you decided one time, and I want to go to the moment of you call on the name of the Lord. Who told you this is wrong? You need to read the Bible. Jesus died for you, and he's the one that's going to be delivering you for all this stuff. You don't need to be practicing this. Share with us.
Well, I had the beads, and I did receive one of the saints. I didn't do the whole ritual. I just received it, and I received actually the master Olokum, which is the master of the sea. That was my spirit guide. And I had told my mom, hey, I'm going to do this. I had become very depressed, but then we moved to Puerto Rico. My mom decides to buy a restaurant and moved to Puerto Rico. And I went totally, I went wild. It was really bad for me. After I received this, I got into drugs, alcohol. I couldn't stop drinking because of my mom's restaurant. I would be drinking in the morning. I would be drinking at night. I would be drinking, and I slowly by surely in my early 20s, I had an alcohol problem. So I was very reckless, very promiscuous. My mom left me in Puerto Rico by myself. So I was working in my mom's restaurant. I had a house and I had a car and I had money. So I was very reckless and I had no supervision. So figure that out. One day, I remember that I got mugged. I was with a guy that I was dating at that time, and 3 guys came in and put a knife in my back, and I thought I was going to be raped and killed. And that moment, I just said, God, please don't let anything happen to me. Lord, don't let anything happen to me. I remember they stole my car, my jewelry. Somehow the police came. We flagged the policeman down. I ran to, he took me home, and I had a spare key somewhere, I think underneath a plant. But I ran to my room, and I remember I had a statue of Jesus that my mom had given me. And I took the statue and I shook it, and I said, if you're for real, show me that you're for real. Show me that you are the God that my grandfather talked to me about. And that was it. I did that. And when my mom found out what had happened, she was already in Miami. She told me, you need to come back home. You need to come back to Miami. She had already been, my dad and her had gotten together. So we had, it was my brother was there, and my father had come back. He had lived in Las Vegas or in Miami, and then he came back. So they were together. They were gonna get married again. So I come back home, and little did I know that my brother was already a born again Christian, and he invites me to church. And when he invites me to church, I'm like, oh no, are you crazy? My mom finds out that you're a Christian, she's going to have a fit. I'm like, no, I'm not going. Leave me out of this one. So, but then again, I had one day, it was like the Lord spoke to me, and he's like, but I thought you wanted to know if I was real. And I'm like, who's talking? Like, what? So I told my brother, hey, are you going to church tonight? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I want to go. The first time I went, I was like, oh, get me out of here. Honestly, I wanted to leave. I don't want to be here. Get me out of here. Then the second time I went with my grandmother. And honestly, it was that day, I couldn't get to the altar fast enough. I was like, oh my God, this is it. It was like, it
This
was
is a real
amazing.
thing. This is a real
I
power.
was like, can the pastor finish? Because before it was like people pulling me, you want to accept the Lord? You want to accept the Lord? And I'm like, now you don't have to tell me if I want to accept the, I just want to run to the altar. I want to run over there. And I ran to the altar. It's like, I think I was the first one up there. I didn't think they had made an altar call, and I was up there already. And I was on my knees crying, repenting. It was like a weight had been lifted off of me, the veil. I was like, oh my God, it was the most beautiful thing. My grandmother accepted the Lord that day. My mom's mom accepted the Lord that day. It took a lot. We did get kicked out of our house. We got home one day, and our suitcase were outside waiting for us because we were Christians, so we were persecuted. Yes, and but I got the Holy Spirit. That was another thing. We were in a bonfire, the youth group, and I felt the Holy Spirit coming. I felt like something from the sky was coming full speed ahead, and I was like, "Oh wow, Jesus
Wow.
is for real.
I mean,
Jesus
when
is for real." Like, I asked him to show me he was for real, and he did. He did. My life was completely shaken. I was like, the Lord prophesied to me at 35 years. He's like, you're going to have two daughters. You're going to marry so and so and so and so. It was amazing. It was, I couldn't believe the Lord. The first time he spoke to me, I was like, what is that? Who are you? Because I thought it was like a spirit, because I thought, it happened to my mom, it's going to happen to me. And I heard the Lord saying, don't fear, it's the Lord thy God. And I'm like, God talking to me? Through me? Are you kidding? And then he started talking, and I was there like, it was amazing. It was totally amazing. And yes, my whole life was shaken. That my whole life, I did ended up, I left my mom's house. We did leave that night. I came back, and then because I was in my 20s, there was nowhere to go. My brothers didn't come back. My brother never came back. I did. Um, and I lived there for a while. I lived there for about 3 more years with demonic. I had demons in my room. Now the spiritual warfare started. I had a lot of spiritual warfare. I had demons in my room every night, sleep paralysis every night. It was horrible. It was really bad. I ended up moving to Atlanta. By that time, I had a daughter, and it eased up. But when I came back because I got divorced. Went through a divorce from my second husband. I already had two daughters at that time, and came back and I faced them. My mom had a hut because by that time now she was a spiritista. She dealt with the spirits. She dealt with Santo, and then became a palera. So there was more demons added to the mix. So the more demons that were added to the mix, the more trouble I was going to get it into. So she had a big cauldron in this hut, and it was really dark there. It was bad. This is deep witchcraft. So, I mean, where they cut people and they scrape them, and now you have to, you were bleeding, and this blood was given to these demons. So this is another dark cult that she got into. So I went in there and I said, listen, I know what you are. I know you're not stronger than the God that is inside of me. So do not bother me ever again. I stood my grounds out and told them, I am not afraid of you. And believe it or not, they never mess with me because they feed off your fear. And I was just like, never, never again. I went and challenged them. I was like, don't. I know what you are, and you're defeated. I didn't know how to fight you before. By now I do. So don't mess with me. And they didn't mess with me. I didn't have any more sleep paralysis. I was able to live 10 years in my mom's house without them messing with me.
Wow. So
Yes,
in the name of the Lord, right? It's power.
yes.
The blood of the Lamb it has power. But now you're free from all these paralysis, spirits, and everything. So you know by fact that it is power and the Bible and the principles of God. God give His Son to die for us. That is the amazing, the blood of the Lamb, right? They take all the sins in the world. So right now, I just want to ask you a question, because right now it's coming this huge holiday, right? Halloween. What do you think about Halloween and you were growing up in the Santeria and all those stuff?
We used to dress up for Halloween. I got sick one day. It was horrible. I got sick one day from something I drank, and my mouth became glue. It was really bad. But Halloween is just another way to worship the devil. It's just another day to put a costume in, on your children that represents evil. And let me tell you, that's not what you want. Demons attach themselves to these things. These are cursed items, and they are cursed. Whatever God doesn't like, He has cursed them. So therefore, if, these demons, and now you're dressing your child as a demon, why? Why would you want to dress your child as a marine spirit, as a demon, as a witch? Why? I mean, it's crazy. No, I totally not happening. It's evil, and Satan is real, and you're involving your children at a young age. They are going to come, these demons are going to attach themselves to your child. They do that at a young age. They do that. If you see children with this fear that the boogeyman is under my bed, I have a friend, an invisible friend. Those are demons talking to your child. Those are demons. So you're introducing this to your child. You're introducing this stuff to your child. My mom, I went as far, my mom put my middle name was the deity that it was supposed to go over my head. I went as far as taking that name out of my name. I went as far, I don't want nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with evil, nothing. The devil is real. Hell is real. And you're just contemplating, having an innocent child be put to that. For what? For candy? For candy? Buy them a bag of candy. Buy them a bag of candy. They don't need that.
Wow. Well, let me tell you, sister, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your testimony. But before that, I really want to, maybe you had too many Bible verses, but maybe a Bible verse that you, after all these discovered, the Bible, wow, that's the book of, the book of God, God's book. Can you please share with us? I'm going to finish this interview. You share your favorite Bible verse.
I think my favorite Bible verse has to be John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that through him that through everyone that believes may be saved and not perish but have eternal life. That is the reason that we're here. God so loved us that he gave Jesus so that we could all be saved. That to me is everything, that Jesus died for all of us to forgive us. So that says everything. That's everything.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
Well, that's very true. It's very true. I mean, that's so powerful, that Bible verse. And I'm glad that was your favorite, because it's mine too.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was anything else that you would like to share before, is ending this program?
Well, I just want to say I do support some ministries that are very dear to me. I've been working with the Lord for many years now, and I do go to church, and Jesus Christ is the solution. We have a tremendous intercessory prayer team, and I became one of the leaders of the intercessory prayer team there. We also do outreach ministries. We go out to the streets of Miami to feed the needy, the homeless, and it's amazing. It's a great experience for anyone. I'm also the new beginners leaders at Freddie Ramirez School of Prophecy and Prayer, and that's an online community that is going to be starting in November. The next module is going to be starting in November. So it's been a great. It's just been great serving the Lord and doing his work, the work of the ministry every day. I'm telling you, is when you know your identity in Christ and your purpose, your life is fulfilled.
Amen. That's very true. That's very true. Please don't hang up. I'm going to finish this video, okay?
Okay.
All right. You guys, it was an amazing testimony, all those details, and I'm sure, Sister Elena, she can write a book about it, let me tell you, because all those details that she shared, all those practicing, that's practically so evil. But I just want to share with you guys, if you guys want to hear more about more testimonies, please go in our YouTube channel, Just Be Blessed. You will and you can be able to enjoy more testimonies here in our YouTube channel. Over 170 people sharing the testimony. If you would like to support our ministry, go to Patreon, Just Be Blessed, and Patreon, and you can help us to grow more. And if you prefer to go different links, it's gonna be in the description of this video. Thanks so much for being here in Just Be Blessed. My name is Alex Castillejos. Remember, we share people's testimonies and we uplift the messages and how God is good. Thank you so much, and we'll see you another week, next week, with another powerful testimony. Bye-bye.